Alrighty, day four. This is the fourth day that I taught. Um, Back in March, that was. Yeah, so interesting. More vocab, kind of had more, kind of doing what picking up where we left off as far as doing what my master teacher wanted. So they had their little worksheet packet stuff. Moving on. This is all ordered the way their packet is. So we kind of would they'd do a section, we'd go over it. Yeah, I just wanted to put in pictures there. Be a little comical, living space here. I thought that was funny. I got a few laughs, but mostly kind of like, yeah, that's funny. Not. Um, yeah, so that Blitzkrieg, Third Reich, pretty straightforward day. It was a I think it was a Thursday, so yeah, it was Thursday. So students were coming around the bend of Friday. It's interesting the kind of the ebb and the flow of how the week goes, and you're hoping that all this sort of this work that you do sticks with them. The book is saying, like, how do you know that they've learned, what you taught them? So it's hard to kind of mesh the kind of more or less life lessons or kind of like greater points you're trying to make with what's on the test. So I'm not writing the tests, so I do have to kind of skew toward the test in order to give these kids the best shot at getting the grades and all that sort of thing. So you know kind of had to this day put away the greater points until we got everything totally done. And then when that happened, I kind of wanted to do kind of like a graphic of how this all works. I reminded the students about the idea of the benevolent dictator. You could be like a dictator here, but it doesn't mean you're a totalitarian and you want to control everything everybody does and you're just a really bad, horrible person. It means you're a dictator. So I mean, I'm not trying to. I was just trying to make the point that there's different ways of ruling a society, and throughout history, dictatorships have worked out sometimes. Other times they go horrible, and when they go bad, they go really bad fast. But there have been times, like I mentioned, adoptive emperors, and some other times throughout history that there are dictators who aren't horrible people. And I was just trying to make a greater point about just because you might get some power doesn't mean you need to be a horrible person and flex that power all over the place. You need to kind of have a reserve sense and more empathy for who you're dealing with. And we kind of got in a discussion about the Holocaust, and because that was coming up, and kids were curious about that, and I was surprised at how little they knew. I mean, I grew up in a time and I guess a place where they taught that a lot. You know, it was horrible, and frankly, it was kind of, I feel like they taught it a little too much. It was a little bit too much too soon kind of thing. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish what happened, but I don't want to teach, the Rwandan genocide to third graders. It's just, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but it just, that's just how I feel. But yeah, they were interested in the Holocaust, so I just sort of explained the general. Hitler, took people who he felt were undesirable, namely Jews, but homosexuals, handicapped people, political rivals, etc., and he shipped them away. And I use the example. What if, who here thinks that guns should be illegal? And a few people raise their hand. I'm like, what if it's like, oh well, I don't like that, so you guys have to go away now. It just, or you have detention. I was kind of pointing out how, like, in a democratic, fair society, you can't do those things, but it happens in these places. It happens. So yeah, that was the Thursday, fourth day, and it went well. Like I said, a lot of kind of teaching to the test, but other than that, we had some good conversations. Yeah, it was good. I mean, they they want they want to know the information so they can get it on their worksheet so they can turn in the worksheet and get points for it. It's very old school, you know. Very, I don't know. It just and they're programmed to do that, you know. Sometimes when I try and do these kind of conversational discussion debate things, it takes a while for them to kind of get talking. It's almost like they're like, "Can I talk? Is it okay?" You know, like, are we really doing this? So it's interesting, you know. But Chelsea, she has her way of doing things, and she's effective, and that's what's important as an educator. I don't, and not everybody has to be like me. That's for sure. I hope not. So yeah, it was a good day of kind of blending those factors all together and into one day of classes. So there's number four.